Good morning, freshmen. Mr. Martineau here. I hope you're having a good week. It's the start of a week. And I wanted to address a couple of things that I typically would in the classroom. Has nothing to do necessarily with an assignment, or I should say, has nothing to do with content. Certainly does have something to do with an assignment. So every now and then I would start class and kind of give you a couple of reminders and things that you should be focusing on. So that's the goal right now. So it won't take long. Don't tune me out. Typically when I start doing one of these rants, this is what I get. But don't do that. So just hang in there because I'm going to give you some very important information. Okay, so first of all, as we're moving along here, so some of you are worried about your grade. That's legit. All I can say is what's past is past. So if you have zeros from before for homeworks, they're in like Unit 4, Unit 5, Unit 3, that ship has sailed. You should focus on the now. Also keep in mind that the homeworks, while you miss it and that's not acceptable, there are a lot of homeworks now. So the fact that you miss one, I mean, it's not good, but you can come back from that. What you can't come back from is doing poorly on the quizzes. I know some of you don't quiz well. And the labs. Now, the labs is last two labs that we've had, Law of Conservation of Energy, and the one that you're seeing this morning on Dynamic Planet are big labs. They're worth 3 lab grades. So you saw from the last lab that this is something that could help your grade. And now this lab is going to be the same thing. All right, so this is the best we can do for labs. Taking a big assignment, breaking it into chunks. Now, before I go further, so if you're looking to get your grade better, what you want to do is focus on this lab. So as we have done, and I have told you guys, I come prepared, you should come prepared. I'm going to work, you should be willing to work. And so the way that I'm sure I'm willing to work is, I give you an assignment, I make comments on it, I send it back to you. You then fix those comments. That's my work. I'm going to do my work. Your work is then to fix the assignment so that you can get a better grade. These big labs are broken into parts. So that when I send it back to you and I give you comments, you should be able to fix it and send it back to me. There are only so many times I'm going to send it back to you. So some of you may have noticed on your comments, it says, you know, I made some suggestions, you sent it to me, I sent it back, you sent it again, I said, and now that's it. So now it's up to you to take your product and try to make it as good as possible before you hand it in. So from that, I want to say a couple of things. So first of all, copying and pasting is no good. So yes, I understand that we ask you to Google stuff, but if you Google stuff and right-click, copy, paste, and put it in, that is not learning. My job is to assess your learning, and I don't want to know how well you know how to copy and paste. Now, I know it's a fine line sometimes, but that's not acceptable, okay? So all you got to do is read a thing and paraphrase it and then put it back into your document. So no straight up copying and pasting. So, and the other reason it's not acceptable is that other students are actually reading articles, paraphrasing, and typing. So how is it fair for them if you get a 100 because you copy and pasted and they get a 100 and they actually did more work? That's not fair. And so I'm all about fairness and I'm all about learning. So I need evidence that you learned. Generally speaking, that's how it works, okay? So from this point forward, if you didn't know that, you have to be told, right? So maybe you didn't know that coming in, I don't know. Well, now I'm saying it, that's not okay, and you should have already known that. But, so that's the deal, okay? Secondly, or I don't even know, I lost count. B, C, this is a product. Now, so this last lab, right, we're really worried about good grades, right? So this last lab that's coming in, I've given you comments and I've said fix it, and now you're on your own to fix it. Well, what can you do to fix it? He's not going to give it back to me anymore. Well, here's what you do. Look through your document. Look for those red squiggly lines. Make sure the spelling is correct, right? Look for those blue squiggly lines. Sometimes it's telling you the grammar is incorrect. Now, I know that sometimes, and I notice it too, like Google always wants to correct me when I put in classroom. It wants me to say in a classroom. Like it'll put a blue squiggly line in the classroom. I have to ignore that, but that's me proofreading it. And that's what you need to do. You need to proofread it. Mr. Martineau, I don't know. I don't know anything about the Earth. I don't know anything about Dynamic Planet. So how am I supposed to proofread it? You can still read it and see if it makes sense. So here are some suggestions. First of all, before you hand your product back, if you want an absolutely awesome grade, well, the potential to have an absolutely awesome grade, check those red squiggly lines. Make sure that everything is spelled correctly. Check those blue squiggly lines. Make sure the grammar is right. Take the thing that you wrote, read it to yourself out loud. Say to yourself, does that make sense, what I just said? If I read this, does that make sense? Look at the thing that you're writing. Look at it and ask yourself the question, is this how this would be written in a book? If it's not, change it. Give it to a family member. Hey, I do this with Ms. Mandarelli all the time. She reads all my papers that I write on nuclear engineering and all that stuff. She doesn't know anything about nuclear engineering, just like I don't know anything about geology, and she knows a lot about it. But she'll read my papers and say, you missed this sentence doesn't make sense. She doesn't know anything about that stuff. And whoever's in your house could do the same thing. They don't know anything about geology or earth science or whatever, but you can say, can you read this and at least tell me that the sentences make sense? I'm not sure. That's totally okay, all right? And I do that all the time. So that's something that you can do, okay? And that's the thing that is really gonna get you beyond, forgetting about the factual stuff, that's on you. You know what I mean? Like, we've already discussed, like, is the island far or close? Is the focus deep or far? Whatever it is. That's beyond that at this point. Now what we got to focus on is actually getting a quality product and showing them that you understand what you're doing. So if you're concerned about a good grade, that's what we have to do. And on a final note, I got to say the following. This class says in front of it, CP. That is college preparatory. And I can tell you that with the way that we teach these classes, myself, Ms. Mandarelli, Ms. Fitzpatrick, Mr. Rezzo, all these CP classes, we are preparing you for college. And you can't come up through high school making the mistakes that you are making now without us correcting them. It's nothing personal. We have to tell you what's right and what's wrong so that you are prepared to be successful in college. And I can say this for a fact because I teach college. So I'm seeing a lot of students come up without the skills because maybe nobody corrected them in the high school. So now I'm making sure that I'm doing the same thing. I am seeing a lot of the same mistakes and it's not okay. And I can also tell you from the viewpoint of a student, I'm also a student in college working on my master's degree. The professors that I speak to on a daily basis are seeing the same problems even with a graduate student. So the bottom line here is regardless of whether or not you think you're going to go to college, maybe you're going to go into a trade, that's fine. Maybe I don't know what you're going to do after. Maybe you don't know what you're going to do after high school. It doesn't matter. The class says college prep. And our job is to prepare you for college and what is acceptable and not acceptable. And some of the errors right now are not acceptable. When should you fix them? Now, not later. Fix them now. And when we tell you it's wrong, it's nothing personal. This is what you won't know until we tell you. And so that's, the same with a coach, the same with a team leader, same with anybody. If they don't tell you it's wrong, you're not going to know. And so that's our job. So having said that, refocus. If you're worried about zeros from earlier assignments, maybe you missed one. Okay, that's not good, but focus on this assignment and other big assignments coming up. Well, you should focus on all your assignments. But if you really want to take your grade by the horns, this is the way that you do it. Okay, so it's just something I wanted to say. It sounds like something I would definitely say at the beginning of a period, one of these, if we were live. And so I felt it necessary. So good luck. Again, I'm around. Put forth your best product. It doesn't guarantee an A, but you're in the running. So just do that. Okay, guys? Other than that, stay safe. I hope you're okay. I hope you miss my shining face. And we'll see you soon. Thanks, guys.